recently have been appointed a Middle East brand ambassador for Bioniq, and I'm so honored to be associated with this unique brand. Bioniq Life is a personalized nutrient supplement driven by world-leading data. The research-based system analyzes the health status of each individual, providing in-depth information and recommendations based on their personal data, blood test results, and the unique Bioniq algorithm. From this, a personal and bespoke nutrition supplement is produced unique to each individual. It just goes so much with my philosophy as a health coach that every individual is unique and should be treated like that. I met up with the CEO of Bioniq, Vadim. Let's see what he has to say. So welcome to the Uma Show, Vadim. Nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So to start with, of course, I have so many questions about the brand, but before that, I would love to know more about you. A little bit of your journey. Where did you grow up, and how did you get into what you are into right now through your experience into sports and everything else?
Sure. So I was born in St. Petersburg in Russia. When I was 6, I moved to Germany. I spent all my childhood in Germany until the age of 19. I started playing professional basketball. I joined the German national team, and while playing an international tournament, scouts from the US saw me, and a scout recruited me to join their teams in the US. So I moved to New York. I started playing for the Buffalo Bulls at the University of Buffalo. I played for 4 years. Unfortunately, I wasn't too lucky with health, so I had 4 serious knee surgeries. I tore my ACL, which is one of the most important ligaments in your body, 4 times. It's actually, there's a funny thing is I'm the first player in the history of college sports that returned after 4 torn ACLs and continued playing. It's one of those records you're not very proud of having, but if you have a record, you might as well share it. But I think why this is important now is because I went through so many medical procedures and rehabilitations that I was very early exposed to what medicine or the right approach can do for you. And I think this also led me on my path where I am today. After basketball, I went to the corporate world. I was first a management consultant for a German company. Then I was the CEO of one of a US public trade company for the marketplace. It's an e-commerce platform for 5 years. Then I joined one of the largest media holdings in Europe. I was the CEO for all the digital entities and corporate ventures, so I was always close to digital and IT. And while doing this journey, while being corporate and being responsible for a lot of different businesses and a lot of different people, I realized that I am not taking care of looking after myself enough.
Right.
And this is the moment where I started my journey. This was around 4 years ago. I was feeling too well myself. I thought to myself, why am I not as energetic anymore? Why I don't want to sleep after lunch? Why in the evening I don't go to the gym no more? Why in the weekends I want to stay in? What's going on? Because at that moment I was 31, 32, and I'm like, this is very, very strange. I'm not at the age that you would think that you would lose so much energy, and I'm spending way too much time and resources and money to support my health. And this is when people recommend me to go see a doctor. So I go to see a doctor. And the conversation with the doctor is like, so how do you work out? So I tell him how I work out. He's like, yeah, that's not good. So he's like, what do you eat? So I tell him what I eat. He's like, yeah, that's not good too. He's like, do you take anything? I'm like, this is the supplements I take. He's like, yeah, that's not good. I'm like, exactly. So what should I do? He's like, you do the blood test. In a week from now, you come back and I'll tell you what to do. So I spend a fortune on the blood test. I come back expecting to hear a result. I come back, the doctor looks at my results and says,
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. And I'm like, what do you mean everything's fine? He's like, you're not ill. And I'm like, well, if I'm not ill, what's going on with me? He's like, if you're ill, I can treat you and prescribe you things, but you're not ill, so there's nothing for me to help you with. And this is where I realized that traditional medical approach in terms of treating the ones that are ill is not always the right thing for people like myself who are trying to be optimized, who are trying to be more preventive, who are trying to be more in a better state. And this is when my journey started, when I was like, where is the solution? It's called in the US, you say scratch your own itch. So it's like, where's the solution to find a system that helps me to optimize myself? And this is where the journey of Bioniq started.
So how did it start?
It started by me talking to many, many doctors,
Right.
flying to different countries, figuring out what they do to monitor and optimize health. Once realizing that most people do checkups once a year and see if they're healthy or ill, but there's no continuous tracking, I realized there must be a product created. If it's not there yet, we must look into it. But because I have no medical background except for personal experiences, I knew that I need somebody strong with clinical trials background on my side. And this is when I started looking for the right person. I was very happy to find my co-founder, medical director, Dr. Konstantin Karuzin, who for 20 years did clinical trials for GlaxoSmithKline and Pfizer, so the leading companies in the world for pharmaceuticals. And he, before meeting me, his company was approached to develop a system to improve cognitive physical function for professional athletes. And he did this based on data sets, and he would provide people with recommendations, personalized recommendations for micronutrients, macronutrients, and other things. And I'm like, this is ideal. This is exactly what I was looking for. And then we got together, and with his knowledge and understanding how the human body works, and my understanding how to create a product and a system around that, that's when Bioniq was born.
What I find it most interesting is the fact in your story that you didn't settle to just believe that that's how you're supposed to perform. And I think in our society, chronically tired people just think because of age or because of stress, they're just supposed to feel tired all the time. And when you think that, no, that's not supposed to be my state, I can help myself and biohack myself, a brand like this, a product like this really plays such an important role. And so that brings me to my next question. What is biohacking for you?
Actually, there's a funny backstory. When we started Bioniq 3-4 years ago, I was so against the word biohacking, the way it was used and portrayed, because biohacking back then was, people putting growth hormones in their body and different kind of needles, anything that can change something that your body can naturally not repeat, where I realized that I want nothing to do with it. I want to associate Bioniq with it. But the more I gave it a thought, the more I realized if you don't like something, you should lead the change about something. So then we realized we should incorporate biohacking as part of Bioniq's approach. This is why we are a biohacking platform, because what we believe in, that the biohacking that we believe in is something where your body can actually repeat the processes, but we allow it to happen more efficiently or more stably for yourself. So biohacking for me is an improvement and optimization of your cognitive physical functions through processes that your body can actually repeat.
So now let's discuss the entire detail of how this really works and what is the process for my viewers to understand if they want to optimize themselves.
Yes, I mean the process is, we're trying to be as convenient as possible because we understand it's 2021. Everybody likes everything right away, at home, conveniently, in a way that is already digested for them. The information is personalized to them and for them. So how it works is the following. Once you sign up on Bioniq.com, a personal manager will reach out to you. A personal manager will reach out to you and book an appointment with a nurse that will come to your home or to your office, wherever you want. The nurse will come, it will take 5 minutes. She will take blood from your veins. The whole process is completely pain-free, it's convenient. We're using very well-tested personnel in all of our markets, so we have a very, very high service standard and qualifications. Once this process goes through, 1 week later, you receive your results. Those results you can share with your doctor, with your family, with your loved ones, whoever you want to. Based on those results, you receive a consultation with a nutritionist. The reason for this is because nutrition is up to 70% of your health. You are what you eat.
Absolutely.
We all know this, you know this firsthand. This is also the experience that we have. So the nutritionist will go through your food intake, your habits, what you're currently eating, so we better understand why your results are the way they are, including based on the food you ate. Then the system will finally do what it's been doing for many, many years. It will personalize a recommendation, what kind of micronutrients you need as of today. You will receive them via our London office, where we ship our vitamins personalized for you with your name on it and the month that you should take them directly to you. They're all Swiss made. The cool thing about them is that we use granules.
Correct.
So granules have much higher absorption levels. And they don't block each other. So you can take up to 120 components at the same time. So if normal people take 6-8 pills, half of those pills are not being absorbed, the other half is blocking each other. So this is in a way we can absorb everything that you take in without worrying about toxicity levels, blockages, and all that kind of stuff that normally you have to think about when taking vitamins. You receive those directly shipped to you wherever you are in the world, and then you start your 2-month cycle, which means you take them for 2 months, and after 2 months, you redo the blood test. And then we as a company can see, and you as a client can see, what improved, what didn't improve, what has changed in my body. And this is when the monitoring system starts.
Right.
Because then you see the trends, what changed, how does the environment, the stress level, the weather, traveling, how did it impact you? And you can start to adjust yourself and biohack yourself every 2 months once you see the new results. The reason why it's 2 months is because you shouldn't take anything for longer than 2-3 months blindly. Correct. Because your body gets used to things, they don't absorb it anymore, something else might change, you might need more, less, something else. So this is why it's so important. So micronutrients will always adjust to your new results. They will always change. You will never get the same thing again because your body constantly changes.
It's changing, absolutely. And the most interesting part of it is that you are treating an individual like an individual, because everyone's body is different, everyone's emotional health is different, and that everything else is affecting our internal health. And the fact that Bioniq is making an individual feel unique is how it stands out.
One size does not fit all.
Absolutely.
If you and I go to a drugstore and it will say take 2 pills per day, well, I don't believe that you and I should take the same amount of pills, just based on the kind of lifestyle, body weight, compatibility, whatever it is, it just doesn't fit that way.
You have gone through this experience. Of course, you've had 30,000 plus people.
Or many more, yeah.
What is the experience so far? What are the feedback that you've been receiving, and how have been contributing, bettering these lives?
When you start as a company, you're trying to solidify your approach. And we're very proud that our medical partners that we signed up in all of our markets are the leading medical partners in each market. So our very first one was Lanzerhof, which is originally from Austria and Germany and the UK, that has solidified our approach. It's the right way to do. And then we have quarterly medical publications coming out from peer-reviewed by leading doctors showcasing how the system works, that it's secure and efficient. So now we have all the data that's showcasing once you start Bioniq, this is the improvement levels you can expect, because this is based on the people that went through the system prior. But then comes the part where people ask, that's great, but how do I feel? What do I feel? And what we say is, the feedback we receive from people, they feel they sleep deeper, so they wake up more energized. They say that the energy level throughout the day is higher. The cognitive function, they can focus longer. Women very often say they feel improvement in hair and skin. And we also hear, which is quite interesting considering that there's a granule form, it's almost like a probiotic, the appetite goes down. So those are the benefits that people feel, which is great because it's very important for people to feel also something. But what people see is the change in results. And this is the proven fact that we're working, that it's working. And the best part for Bioniq, we are as interested as you are in improving you, because the figures will speak for themselves. And you can see over 2, 4, 6+ months what has changed, what has improved, and how Bioniq could have helped you.
I mean, being a health coach myself, I know there are very few common deficiencies that most of us have. Vitamin D.
Yes.
Most people are extremely tired. As I said, chronic tiredness, brain fog is one of the main concerns now I see in more and more people, and women having hormonal health issues. And it's just so easy to walk in to a clinic, get yourself tested, have those same parameters, and you given a particular supplement and you go to a pharmacy and pick up those typical brands, and then you start popping them without even realizing what that supplement is doing to you. Is it absorbed by your body? How much is it absorbed? Do you really need it? And all of it. So when a Bioniq kind of brand comes into the market,
it's not just you're selling products, you're educating people.
100%.
And it's just so important right now, I feel, in today's day and age, for people to understand their bodies well. So how is Bioniq helping people educate about their own health and take that responsibility in their own hands?
There's two things to this. Before you can optimize your health, you should be healthy in the first place. What we see based on our data, almost a third of our clients have health issues or inclined health issues without knowing it. So the brain fog that you're talking about, the tiredness that you're talking about, there can be medical reasoning for that because they are ill at the given moment or are being close to becoming ill. So the first part is Bioniq educates you, what's your health status right now? Are you ill at the moment or are you about to become ill? So that's the first thing. The second part is, a lot of those people are, as you said, popping something. You know how many women take iron but have low iron levels?
Absolutely, you're right.
They're taking the wrong iron, they're taking the wrong dosages of iron, it's not being absorbed. Their body cannot absorb iron. So they think to themselves, my iron is low, I'm taking iron, everything should be good now. Well, nothing has changed because your body doesn't accept the iron or the dosages that you just gave it to them. So this is when the education part starts. Because just even if you know the diagnosis, if you don't know the treatment works or not, then what's the point of the diagnosis?
Yeah, and it's just so right what you said, because we both have gone through this journey of going from one doctor to another doctor and just being confused at the end of the day because you just don't know what's going on. And then finally you have something in your hands that is not only educating about your own health, but is also helping you optimizing. And the fact, the moment you start believing that you can be better than what you are right now, you reach out for help. And I think Bioniq is doing that job. On the other side of it, as a healthcare industry, it's one of the largest and the fastest growing industries in the world right now. I guess it's going to be $500 billion plus dollar industry by 2025, maybe.
Yeah.
How a company like Bioniq is really trying to be different from so many other companies that are just popping up right now, especially after pandemic.
100%. There's two things to it. I think the one thing is we're trying to be as close. We're not fighting medicine. We're trying to be a hybrid where we take the best things of medicine that there is. We want the medical approval and support. We're not saying forget about traditional medicine. We're saying let's add to traditional medicine. There's the reason when your results come in, the system will tell you the recommendations, but a medical expert will look over it. So it's a hybrid thing. Because of this, we're capable of having clinical data, clinical research, medical publications supporting our approach. All those companies that you're talking about that are popping up right now, they're great at taking advantage of a trend of having beautiful packaging, having the right ambassadors, and selling the idea of health.
Right.
The difference between them and us is we're not selling the idea of health because we're selling actually the result. Because you can see if it works or it doesn't work. You know, there's the business of selling hope, and actually then the business of actually healing. So this is the difference that we're trying to let people know and understand. That's the first part. The second part is we're trying to collect what we call smart data. There's a lot of big data out there. Every time you do a big test, there's a lot of figures on it. But there's nothing you really can do with those figures without people sitting next to you and explaining detailedly. And even once they explain it to you, then you still have to do something about it. You still have to be actionable. Totally. So we're trying to take advantage through our system that we're not only explain to you what the data means, we also provide you solutions based on your data, what to do with it. Because I got tired of receiving big reports and not knowing what to do with them. Now you get the reports and you get the solution.
Yeah.
And this is what we're trying to change.
And that's what I think Bioniq is different, that you're solution-based.
Yes.
Rather than being a part of the problem right now.
Correct.
And that's what we need to do. For a common person to start off their journey, what are the main symptoms they should be really looking? If they're watching this episode right now, what should be they thinking right now? Like, yes, I've been feeling tired. maybe I should reach out for Bioniq? What are those main 5-6 symptoms?
Yeah, so 100% leads tiredness. I think you mentioned already 2 of them. Brain fog, when you realize it's hard for you to concentrate. This is something, when your energy level is going down, when you realize that, it's something that, again, I'm sharing about myself, when you used to be able to, after work, go get a workout in, you just don't want it. In the morning, when it's hard for you to get out of bed, when you're already tired when you wake up, when after eating, the food is bringing you down instead of energizing you up, so you're actually more tired after eating than before. And then obviously, what we all understand, it's very interesting to see women start joining us when they're starting becoming interested in anti-aging.
Yes.
So it's like the beauty from within. Men start joining us when they have the first sights of deficiencies, when the belly starts pop over, when you feel like a little bit, when it's like, when you had a night out and next morning it's like it takes longer for you to get back into shape, like when you didn't sleep as much and your whole day is ruined, and that's when men come in. So it's very interesting. Women are much more preventive, proactive. Men will react more, but this is what happens when people start joining.
Yeah, but also women are the ones that take decisions for the families.
Oh, they're 100% the gatekeepers.
Yeah, gatekeepers of the family.
If we look at the typical journey of Bioniq, the typical one is the woman makes the decision to monitor for herself, brings on the husband, the spouse to look after, then the parents, and then the children. So the women are the ones that make a decision because they believe that looking after the health of the family is part of the entire thing that they should be doing, because this is something that I keep telling people. We know so much about things around us, we know so little about us ourselves.
That's so true, and it's so powerful. A few very simple questions. As you said initially, and I really like what you mentioned that this is not a magic pill.
Yeah.
And food covers 70% of it. Yes. Would you like to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, in combination with the right intake, Bioniq will significantly improve your health parameters. This is clinically proven. What happens is when people see the significant improvement, they start believing that just by taking Bioniq, they're already doing enough for their health. Because of the importance of food, macronutrients, and you are what you eat, if you don't at least have a conservative regular diet in terms of the macros that you take in and the calories that you take in, this will not solve your issues. Bioniq cannot help you with a bad diet. Bioniq can support you with a regular or even better a good diet, but this is not a wonder pill. This is very important. It's the management of expectations in today's world. We're one of the few companies who's not afraid of saying it. That if you don't eat properly, there's not a lot we can do, because food intake is the foundation for our health.
And just to be honest about that, because there is no magic pill that can make you lose weight, make you feel better, because it's a combination of everything.
There's a combination of everything, and your body is too smart. Your body is too smart for that, and the body will adjust to any of those magic pills in 3 to 4 days. And then the whole, the initial placebo effect or the water that you lost, at some point has to come back.
Yeah, and also so much focus on being on mental health, which is also associated with gut health.
Yeah.
Gut health is the second brain, and all the conversation that's going on, microbiome.
Yes.
I feel an approach like this, bespoke supplementing, is just need of the hour. And having said that, how do you also focus on the mental health part of it? Because that's one of the biggest concerns that we have right now.
We realized 2020, lots of our clients were in a mental situation they've never been before in their lives. They were not just worried about financials or the impact, but they were worried about communication, social. Will they see their parents again? Will they hug their parents again? What goes on? Will the world ever go back? And all those questions had a certain impact on them. And statistically, what we're seeing right now is over 10% of all people have depression symptoms. Over 20% of children have them. We understand that 30% of people who have depressions or have mental issues are based on physical pain that they don't know about. So everything is intertwined. Everything is somewhere at some point is there. So we at Bioniq, we are working on providing mental health support through online psychologists. So we're already launching this very soon. This will be part of the system of the program, as you said, that's so important. And because you need to be able to appreciate the journey also not just physically, but also mentally in the right place.
Last but not least, let's talk about the countries you're available at. Welcome to Dubai. We're really happy to have you, and an access to a brand like this, which really can transform us in so many different ways. Which are the countries that you're available at? And if people obviously living here travel a lot, not right now, but obviously in the future, we all are going to get back to that life. How do you have an access to this?
Of course, so our first market was and is the United Kingdom. So the second market we opened, this was 2 years ago, we launched Bioniq 2019. Then 6 months later we launched Russia, the Russian market. We're nationwide in Russia. We just, as you mentioned, joined the UAE a little bit over a month ago. We also finalized a pilot in New York, so we're in the East Coast in the US. In addition, we're looking into having partner clinics in France and in Germany and announcing that very soon. So yes, because our clients are traveling. One of the reasons why we are in the UAE, because our clients in London gave us the feedback that this is something that is very, very in demand and should be accessible, available in this market. And once looking at the data, and we've seen the issues with diabetes, type 2 diabetes, cholesterol issues, we realized that this really Bioniq something can be helpful in this market, given that there is a demand and given that there is a need. We had to make sure we're here. So very soon we're going to be all over at the GCC. We're going to launch in other markets also. So this is for our COE, it's just the first market in the region, and hopefully by the end of the year we'll be also available in other markets in GCC.
So health is literally a click away right now.
Health is a click away, and making health accessible and actionable is our mission, and making it on a global level is the goal.
Thank you so much for being on the show and empowering us with so much knowledge.
Amazing. Thanks so much for having me. Thanks.